I first met Greta Hager when I joined Anaplan and started working with her on their new FinX forecaster using Anaplan's financial forecasting solution. She's been head of financial planning and analysis for MassMutual for a little over 2 years. And she's known in the industry as a financial leader with a strong passion for building finance of the future organizations that focus on sustainable value creation. One thing you need to know about Greta is that at her core, she's a lifelong learner and a builder who believes in continuous improvement and innovation. In fact, Greta is one reason MassMutual is a visionary organization, always thinking 2, 3, or even 10 steps ahead. Before joining MassMutual, she was with AIG as head of life and retirement capital and forecasting for 7 years. And her first job in finance after graduating from the University of Houston was at Grant Thornton. Greta, it's so great to see you today. You were the first customer that I ever saw working at Anaplan, and now you're the actually, and then we went into lockdown, and now you're actually the first customer that I'm getting a chance to meet with live. So this is so fun. I'm so glad to have you. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
So Greta, tell us what it's like launching a financial forecasting tool in just 5 months when your entire team is working remotely.
Oh my goodness. It's quite an experience, as you know, because you were there the entire time. Not only were we completely remote, we did it in 5 months, but we did it with a team that had just started with a company. Practically everybody on the team, they were all onboarded during a pandemic. But it was really an amazing experience, I have to say. The flexibility of the tool, the partner support, the support that I got from you personally, from EY, it was really an amazing experience for me and for my team.
How are you able to work so fast, collaboratively, and effectively?
You think? I'm just kidding. But I would say it all starts back to the visioning that we did together in the very beginning. I don't know if you remember, but we sat down and I wanted to jump all in and just tell you about everything I was going to do. And you said to me, you and our EY partners, you said, tell me what you really want to do. What is your vision for this? Where do you want to go? Because you wanted to understand the big picture. You wanted to understand my long-term goal. You wanted to have a really good idea so you knew how to support me along the way. That made it to where, it was really a fantastic experience. Not only that, the capabilities within the tool, the functionality, it's really quite fantastic.
So what were some of the goals of the project?
Okay, so from the very beginning, I wanted something that could do connected planning. So meaning every data point within the tool is connected to everything else in one seamless ecosystem, dynamic scenario analysis, on-the-fly computation, in an environment in which I could crowdsource assumptions. And I could open it up to all of our key decision makers and understand their thoughts and their views in the future like this.
It's amazing. I love the crowdsourcing aspect of it. I think it's so smart and so kind of right here and right now. And when people get to be included in the plan and, oh, that plan, I'm in that plan, that has my work in it. I think that's so important and special and smart. And now that you've been using the forecasting tool since April, how's it going?
Oh, it's wonderful. So it's a journey, right? Our first prototype, our first phase one that we launched in April, I had big dreams and I wanted to launch with every capability possible, but what we were able to do in 5 months is really incredible. The dynamic computation, the ability to get feedback from everyone else. It's amazing how the discussions have just changed, right? So before, all of our key decision makers, they didn't have transparency on the numbers. They didn't have reliability, credibility. So there was always this question of, what is that number? Where did it come from? And that really could derail conversations. But now those decision makers, instead of that, they say, well, what if I did this? What if I did that? And so it changes the dialogue, which is exactly what we're looking to do. We're looking to drive behavioral changes that create long-term value.
Yep, we've both been there. We've both been at the table when you sit down, you either pull up your laptops or you put the numbers on the the whiteboard or the projector, and instead of having a discussion about what are we going to do, it goes to, are those numbers right? I don't recognize those numbers. That's painful for sure. So how is the new forecasting tool helping you break down silos at MassMutual?
It allows us to do distributed crowdsourced planning. So what does that mean? We go out to all of our key decision makers. And for us, that means 200 people. And we ask them to provide feedback on where they see the results of the business, where we're going, targets, in a very clean, easy to use user interface. And so what does that do? It enables them to have a voice in the process. So if you have key decision makers who have a voice, they have clear-cut accountability, they understand the decisions that they drive, and they have full transparency because the tool enables us to have complete connectivity of all data points. So they understand how they drive the ending results and how other people may be dependent on decisions that they make. That is the first way to break down silos.
And was it hard for them to pick up on how to use the interface?
Oh no, it's like using a website, right? And we all use that. So from a tool perspective, no issues whatsoever. I mean, it's new technology. The bigger, change that we've been going through is really the cultural change, right? So if you move from a finance-based process to a business-driven process, that requires quite a bit of change management and just cultural change. But I'm amazed at how far we've come in just a few months with that. Everybody really seems to love that we are moving to a business-owned process.
I love that. You really brought the team with you. You made sure they were communicated to, they understood the vision, and I think you helped build the trust, and that's so important. And would you say that you feel like it's helped you be a better business partner?
Absolutely. Just going through and getting business leader feedback. There are all sorts of great ideas out there, and including them along in that journey helps them become our advocate, but also helps us ensure that we're reflecting their feedback.
And are you able to get things out quicker in a more timely fashion in a way that can be actionable?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, our goal is to shrink the process down to a few business days, right? And before we were at weeks. So we can run scenarios, on the fly. It's really, truly fantastic.
Does it make you feel like you're commercially more resilient?
I hope so. I'm just kidding. Yeah. I mean, I really see us transforming the role of finance. I see us actually driving business decisions. And as I think about it, we have introduced this tool in a time of market instability and global pandemic. I mean, if there was ever a case for change and a reason why you need this kind of functionality, this was the environment for it.
If you were to meet one of our colleagues on the street and they asked you, hey, why did you choose Anaplan? What would you say?
So I chose Anaplan because it had the functionality. It was so easy to use that I could put it in the hands of our brand new analysts and they could use it like it's Excel. And I absolutely love that ability to put the power in the hands of our team to actually create such a beautiful and elegant tool.
So they can go into the tool and model and master the capabilities. You've essentially weaponized them to go do analytics that they couldn't do before in traditional platforms.
Even I did it.
Oh, yay!
Which to me, that was the selling point. The fact that I could do it in a test environment, in a little prototype, and build something very, very simple. I knew the power. And I knew that if I put the power in the hands of my team, it would be amazing what they would be able to accomplish.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
What do you think the workplace or the office of the future looks like?
Ooh, that is like the $1 million question. And I feel like if you were to ask me that at many different times of the day, I would probably give you a really different answer. I go back and forth. The one thing I know is it's not the office that we came from, and it's not going to be fully remote. It's going to be different. And I think we're all going to learn to live and thrive in a very different world. But I'll tell you, I'm excited about going back to the office. I can't wait to have some real face-to-face interaction. I am so grateful that I actually get to speak to you face-to-face.
Oh, thank you. You know, Greta, I'm again so impressed by what your team was able to accomplish.
Our team,
and I'm looking forward to what we do in the future together. Thank you so much.
Me too. And thank you again for having me and partnering with me. I appreciate it.
Anaplan has opened new horizons for companies like MassMutual. Let's now talk further with Victor on some of the key points that came out of my interview with Greta.
Sara, one thing that stood out for me is that Greta seemed really happy with Anaplan's forecasting tool. What do you think set Greta up for success at MassMutual?
Well, first of all, this was not her first rodeo. She had implemented Anaplan at a former company, but I think her thoughtfulness and the way that she went into planning the implementation, she was very good about making sure that the relationships were there. So she and I had a relationship.
Right.
She had a fantastic partner in EY, and then she's got an incredible team, and she brought them along with her,
Right.
and she stayed on plan, and she also was ready and prepared in case something went off plan. She
Right.
gave herself that wiggle room because no matter, it doesn't matter what software or platform that you're implementing.
Right.
There's going to be a time, unless you're planning this out for 3 to 5 years, which nobody wants to do.
Right.
You're gonna hit a snag and you're gonna have to pivot. And I
Yes.
think that's where trust comes in again. You're not questioning who did what wrong, or who is there somebody that should be blamed. It's just about trust. No, we're just gonna go a different direction.
Yes.
And her team was able to pivot, and I love that constant communication and bringing the team with her.
That is so key.
So it's so key.
Yeah, when you said bringing the team along, I'm reminded of how I had to give my team a sense that there were going to be times when we bump up against a wall and we would keep going, we'd just find another way, but that we would ultimately had a North Star. Why do you think Greta and her team had such success with their transformation?
I think it also was, making sure they celebrated the milestones. They really stayed, they stayed focused. They stayed, eye on the prize. And as I mentioned, to the extent that something, maybe wasn't working or had to be slightly pivoted, they were able to do that, and they were successful at doing that. And I think, again, I'm going to say it. It's the trust. They leaned into their partner. They trusted their partner. Their partner has a lot of experience, and everybody would just lean in, to focus on what needed to get done.
You're reminding me of culture. I spent a lot of time feeling like I was pushing a boulder uphill against the grain with culture, and that inspiring of trust is so powerful because you have to trust the fact that you are really going towards something that's going to be impactful for yourself, your team, and your company. In the end, what do you feel was the biggest takeaway from your interview with Greta?
Well, clearly, she felt like they got so much value, from the solution that they implemented. She talks about, hey, things are different now. There's trust. There's credibility. Hey, everybody's looking at the same numbers. You and I know this from our background. What can happen in finance or other businesses is, you get around the room, and instead of talking about how do I solve the problem, you're talking about, are we sure these numbers are right?
Exactly.
And that's not going to help drive top line revenue. Everybody's sitting around, questioning the numbers.
Right.
I think the confidence, that it's giving the team, and the confidence that it's giving, the rest of the teams outside of Greta's organization,
Yes.
confidence in Greta's organization
Exactly.
is fantastic. So
Right.
I'm really excited about what they might do next, and that they're gaining that true business partner, trusted advisor
Absolutely.
role.
Yeah, one thing that came out from the Coke story is that Alex said that he became the most popular person at the dance. And I used to say, with the transformation I led when I was at Coke, that we went from what felt like we were, pushing the organization to do something different to other parts of the organization pulling Anaplan toward them, saying, hey, can I work with you in Anaplan? And that I believe we have shared data that would help me save a lot of time. So that's a great example.
And I think also the Mass Mutual culture and their team, they're strong at recognizing people and saying thank you along the way.
That's
and
important.
I'm so thankful for having them, as a customer, as I am with Coca-Cola. And I think just that graciousness along the way, I saw it in their culture. I even got the opportunity to participate in one of their celebrations, and
nice.
it blew my socks off.
That's great. Thanks, Sara.